Learn about Kiribati, Alliance of Small Island States, climate change. Kiribati is one of the world's most vulnerable nations to the effects of global warming. It is expected to be fully submerged in water within next 100 to 200 years. Kiribati is expected to be the first country to lose all its land territory to climate change. In June 2008, the Kiribati President Anote Tong said that the country had reached the point of no return. He added, "To plan for the day when you no longer have a country is indeed painful, but I think we have to do that." Kiribati, officially the Republic of Kiribati, is an independent island nation in the Central Pacific Ocean. The permanent population is just over 110,000, more than half of whom live on Tarawa atoll. The state comprises 32 atolls and one raised coral island, Banava. They have a total land area of 811 square kilometers and are dispersed over 3.5 million square kilometers. In June 2008, Kiribati officials asked Australia and New Zealand to accept Kiribati citizens as permanent refugees. The November 2015 census showed a population of 110,136. About 90% lived in the Gilbert Islands, with about 50% of them on South Tarawa, including Bidio, the biggest township. Their spread straddles the equator and the 180th meridian, although the international dateline goes round Kiribati and swings far to the east, almost reaching the 150 degrees west meridian. This brings Kiribati's easternmost islands, the Southern Line Islands, south of Hawaii, into the same day as the Gilbert Islands and places them in the most advanced time zone on Earth. UTC +14. Kiribati is the only country in the world to be situated in all four hemispheres. Kiribati gained its independence from the United Kingdom, becoming a sovereign state in 1979. The capital, South Tarawa, now the most populated area, consists of a number of islets, connected by a series of causeways. These comprise about half the area of Tarawa Atoll. Previously, the country had exported phosphate, however, those mines are no longer viable with fisheries and export of copper driving much of the economy. Kiribati is one of the least developed countries in the world and is highly dependent on international aid for its economy. Kiribati is a member of the Pacific Community, Commonwealth of Nations, the IMF, and the World Bank, and became a full member of the United Nations in 1999. As an island nation, the islands are very vulnerable to climate change, and addressing climate change has been a central part of its international policy, as a member of the Alliance of Small Island States. Kasiti International Airport on Kiribati has an international service provided by Fiji Airways. Nadi to Kasiti Airport and then to Honolulu. Traditionally, the staple diet of the Kiribati was the abundance of seafood and coconuts. Starch-based carbohydrate sources were not plentiful due to the hostile climate of the atolls, with only the northernmost atolls being viable for constant agriculture. The national crop wadwe was only eaten during special celebrations along with pork. What is climate change? Climate change includes both the global warming driven by human emissions of greenhouse gases and the resulting large-scale shifts in weather patterns. Though there have been previous periods of climatic change, since the mid-20th century, humans have had unprecedented impact on Earth's climate system and caused change on a global scale. The largest driver of warming is the emission of greenhouse gases, of which more than 90% are carbon dioxide and methane. Fossil fuel burning for energy consumption is the main source of these emissions, with additional contributions from agriculture, deforestation, and industrial processes. The human cause of climate change is not disputed by any scientific body of national or international standing. Temperature rise is accelerated or tempered by climate feedbacks, such as loss of sunlight-reflecting snow and ice cover, increased water vapor, and changes to land and ocean carbon sinks. Under the Paris Agreement, nations agreed to keep warming well under 2.0 degrees Celsius through mitigation efforts. However, under those pledges, global warming would reach about 2.8 degrees Celsius by the end of the century, and current policies will result in about 3.0 degrees Celsius of warming. Limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius would require having emissions by 2030, then reaching near zero emissions by 2050. What is Alliance of Small Island States? Alliance of Small Island States is an intergovernmental organization of low-lying coastal and small island countries. AOSIS was established in 1990, ahead of the Second World Climate Conference. The main purpose of the alliance is to consolidate the voices of small island developing states to address global warming. These island countries are particularly vulnerable to climate change and its related effects on the ocean, including sea level rise, coastal erosion and saltwater intrusion. Members among the nations least responsible for climate change, having contributed less than 1% to the world's greenhouse gas emissions. These states advocate for international policy and mechanisms for addressing the inequity of climate impacts. AOSIS has a membership of 39 states from all around the world, of which 37 are members of the UN, while 2 participate within the Union and an additional 5 states are observers. The alliance represents 28% of the developing countries and 20% of the UN's total membership. Most SIDS are AOSIS members. Hashtags Kiribati, Alliance of Small Island States, AOSIS. Learn about Kiribati, Alliance of Small Island States, climate change.